So recently in an interview with Shigeru Miyamoto, he was talking about the museum that they just opened up. Did you see that? Have you seen the Nintendo Museum?
No, I haven't seen anything. I knew they were doing something for Mario. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, they've got a lot of stuff in there, bro. It's kind of weird. Like
Yeah.
they did a whole Nintendo Direct on it, which is crazy. I honestly I didn't even watch the whole thing, but it looks really good. It's like a big love letter to Nintendo. But he was expressing
Gotcha.
in this interview that, they're so much more than a video game company now. And they always have been. I think they got their start in like a Japanese card game or something like that. So, that was forever ago. But anyway, in the museum, he's trying to talk about how they're doing so much more than video games now. They've got the entertainment with the movies and stuff they got coming out, Lego deals and toys and merchandise, all the stuff that Nintendo's known for.
They got their hands in everything right now.
Oh, dude, yeah. They're definitely the most wealthy company in all of Japan. Not in US dollars, but in Japanese currency, they're worth over $1 trillion. They're just swimming in the money, and in my personal opinion, they're beating out Microsoft and Sony 10-1. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to both quality of games, the amount of games that are coming out, first party and third party, as well as just money in general. Man, they're making bank and rolling in it. And Nintendo fans are eating, bro. Like, yeah, we've had the same cancel for 60 years, but we're eating. It's going just fine.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's the only thing. It's like, where's the hardware? Where's the hardware at?
And that's it, bro. Which, I mean, I get it, but that's kind of what he was talking about in this interview. That's what's cool about this. In this interview, he's talking about how with their next generation of consoles that comes out, he doesn't really necessarily want to see the people on the internet getting involved in this whole console wars thing. It's not something that Nintendo wants to be involved in. I don't think. They just seem to separate themselves all the time. Just let Microsoft and Sony kill each other, and while they fight each other, Nintendo just rises and rises.
Yeah.
And it seems to be working for him just fine, man. But he says that, I see the people on the internet who always ask the questions, why isn't Nintendo doing things with the most cutting edge of chips, the most cutting edge of software and hardware that's out there? And his response was just really good to hear. He said, well, we are. He said, you just don't see it. We don't release that stuff to the public until we know that it's the right timing. Everything's about timing for them. And that was really good for me to hear because, one, to think that Nintendo's just that far ahead. Everything is about timing with them. I personally believe that Echoes of Wisdom, I don't even think that Super Mario Wonder, I don't think those games were supposed to be for Switch. I just don't. It seems like they've got all these games lined up so far in advance that if anything happens, I think they learned their lesson with the Switch Pro during COVID time, that anything can go wrong and screw them up. So they're just going to get things done way far in advance. And if something comes up, they're cool. The game's already done. They don't have to delay a release. They can just release it whenever they want to. And I think we see that with Mario Wonder, Echoes of Wisdom, Metro Prime 4, Mario Party Jam. That's a third Mario Party for the Nintendo Switch console. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
It's crazy. So when he said that we are working on it, that blew my mind because that means that, okay, whatever the next console is, whether it's Switch 2 or the Super Switch or whatever you want to call it, that's probably already been done and probably been done for ever.
There's all the testing is done with that. They're just sitting on it waiting to put out the release date. They've got everybody just like holding on to their screens, shaking, waiting for the release.
Oh yeah.
It's already bought. Everyone's already got it. That's done. The next thing's probably already done too.
Yeah.
They just have they've got so much stuff. Like we've talked about it before. They don't need to have the next gen stuff to compete with Microsoft and Sony.
Right.
Because they know Nintendo fans will buy whatever they put out.
Absolutely.
But like you said, it is nice to know that they have that stuff in the works and they are planning for it in the future. It's just a matter of when is it gonna come out.
It's whenever they want, whenever they deem that the timing is right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I would even put up the argument that the reason why Nintendo fans do buy whatever they put out is because the majority, I'm not going to say all of it, but the majority is high quality. The amount of time that they've probably spent cooking up some of these games like Echoes of Wisdom, who knows how long that game has been in development, right? And even after the game is complete, Nintendo is notorious, famous for putting on this intense amount of polish to their games. Something like Sony fans just got with the robot game that just came out. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, Robot Boy or whatever it is, but
yeah, Roboy or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man, something like that. I hear it's a fantastic game. I'm not throwing shade at it, but from what I understand, it's an incredibly polished game. It's something that just, no matter what you do, every step, every jump, every action, gives you the feel-good feelings that Nintendo games are so known for. But to think that they're actually working on a Zelda, a Mario Kart that might be 8K, running at 60 frames or 120 frames per second. They're working with the most modern technology right now. We just won't see it until my grandkids are graduating high school, but they're working on it right now. And that makes me really excited, man.
Now it really gets me a little nervous because you talk about, all in good fun joking about not until our grandkids are in college. But in all seriousness, how long have we been waiting for a game with the Chow Garden? And there's a list of things that we're waiting on that they've got to have. What did they just come out with the Chow Garden? It was like a little mini series.
Yeah, a little
story
TV show.
Or whatever.
It's called Chow Tales. It's an eight series show. I know some of that's out of Nintendo's hands, but Sega they typically work hand in hand with Nintendo. Sega does.
To me, that's them just letting us know, like, we have it.
Oh yeah.
You're just not getting it yet. And I'm one of those people where I hear that stuff and I'm like, come on, just give it to me now. Oh, yeah. And it hurts to wait, but they've got you. They've got you, by the throat, and they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they are working on it, they have the technology, and like you said, a Mario Kart in 8K. Oh my gosh! Could you imagine a game like Breath of the Wild with ray tracing, 8K?
Mm-hmm.
Give it to me. I want to see it.
Crazy good, bro. And it is good to know they're working on it right now, because typically you just think that Nintendo's like, well, we'll just put out the cheaper console. If the PS5 Pro is going to be $700, the Switch 2 will be $450, maybe even $500. Mm-hmm. Who cares? It beats $700 because you still got to buy controllers and games. You get a PS5 Pro, you want one game and two controllers, you're almost $1,000 in to a system, and you only have one game. It's crazy. If Nintendo can get it to where, and I understand the Joy-Cons are two controllers, so you buy a system with two controllers, I'm aware. But if they can get it to where you buy a system, two controllers, and a game, and you are still less than 3/4 of the way to $1,000, you're winning.
They're winning.
You're winning.
Yeah.
That's all it takes right now is just to win. I feel like Nintendo is like, you remember in The Dark Knight when the Joker's just sitting on that big pile of money and just goes to swimming down it? That's what they look like to me. Nintendo, it's like an anime where Sony and Xbox thought a couple years ago with the Wii U that they backed Nintendo in a corner, and they've got this whole anime monologue on now, like, there's nowhere left to run. And Nintendo looks down and starts laughing and says, you've fallen right into my trap. I've thought so far ahead that I knew you would lead me this way. You spent so much money on all your graphics and frame rate that your games cost $1 kajillion, and then when they come out, if you don't sell enough copies, you have to lay off all your employees, which is bad for PR, it's bad for your company, and then you also sometimes have to close down studios, which means you can't make more games. It's also bad for PR, which in turn is just bad for your company. And the whole time Nintendo's like, hey, here's a new Mario movie, hey, we're making a Donkey Kong movie, Which is a good sign, because I think there will be a good Donkey Kong game coming out. And fingers crossed for a 4K. I don't care if it's 60 frames per second. It doesn't matter to me. Honestly, 4K doesn't matter to me. I just want really, really, really fun games. And Nintendo does that. That's all that matters. Yeah. I'm not one of these guys that gets into all the tech. I understand it okay. But for me, I just want to have fun when I play games with you, Tessa, and Connor. That's what I want to do. And I know that Nintendo will always provide that. Sony and Xbox, I just can't say the same. These games look amazing. The games look better.
They're beautiful games. Yeah, there's nothing against that at all. But the feeling you get, and I'm not saying all their games are like that, but the feeling you get when you play Nintendo games, it never fails. Mm-hmm. When you get through a game, and like the first opening scene, like you and Connor just started playing the new Zelda game,
right?
And that opening scene, I've watched it twice, and I'm going to watch it another time, guaranteed, if not multiple more times. that opening scene just makes you feel something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see what the rest of this game has. And you get this just wonderful, awe-inspiring kind of experience. And that comes with all of their games. And that's something that it doesn't matter how many graphics you have, like what the, you got ray tracing, is it 4K, is it 8K, what's the, running power of this, like all that stuff kind of goes out the window when you just have a well-polished game that makes you feel something.
Exactly.
And
right.
Nintendo's got the win on that one all day long.
They've got the juice, bro. Nintendo's got what it takes to make a really good game, and they just do it all the time. High caliber, high octane, and high quantity. They're just putting them out, When's the last time a Grand Theft Auto game came out? For the 360. You know what I'm saying? They're great games. I never play them, but people seem to love them. And Grand Theft Auto 5 came out on the Xbox 360 generation. They're still waiting for the next one. It's going to sell. I believe that it's going to sell.
They just keep remaking that same one and like coming out with anniversaries for old ones and stuff like that, trying to relive the hype off the old games. And that seems to be a lot of Microsoft and Sony's go-to.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, people are gonna say, well, Mario. It's like, okay, yeah, but it's Mario. Like, come on. But Xbox tries to keep beating the same horse of Call of Duty and Halo, and I'm sorry,
all sorts of New Horizons and all that stuff gets remakes all the time.
And it's just, I don't know. To me, it just seems old. It seems tired. It seems wore out. It's not something that can be repeated, like the Mario series and the Zelda series, and honestly, Donkey Kong. And there's so many different, like, they're starting to realize they can make all these different spin-offs with the Peach game, which honestly, I bought it for my daughter, and I play it more than she does. It's honestly a lot of fun. And it does the same thing. It makes you feel something, and it's just there's so many different ways you can play, and they created this story and this place and this atmosphere. And I mean, other games do that, but Nintendo just does it so well.
They do, and we're here for it all the way, man. I can't wait to see what they've got for the future. Solely Switch is going to be following it. I mean, Switch is in the name, baby. That's what we do. Solely Switch is going to be following it every single step of the way. We're really excited to see what the future holds for Nintendo. I can't believe that they're working on things that are so high advanced, 4K, 8K games and hardware right now as we speak. And we can
hopefully before our grandchildren are in college.
Yes, but at least we can take great comfort in knowing that when it is released, it's going to be done correctly because they care to take the time to make their games good. We even see that with a new Pokemon Legends game coming out. So with that being said, man, I can't wait to see what Nintendo's got in store for the future. We'd love to know what you guys think about the subject. Let us know in the comments below. Do you think Nintendo is telling the truth? They are working on 8K systems right now currently. When do you think the Switch 2 is coming out, and are you looking forward to it? We appreciate you guys joining us for today, and we'll see you next time on Solely Switch.